Ghoulies. It is your Supreme, of course, and I want to introduce all of my Ghoulies, my Supremes, my witches, my monsters. I want to introduce you guys to a brand new series that we'll be doing on this channel called Hometown Horrors. So, in this series, we're just going to basically be going through each state, talking about their urban legends, their actual haunted locations, and then just, all things eerie, suspenseful, creepy, the normal combos around here, around your witch's lair. So definitely grab your witch's brew, put your brooms down, grab your favorite snack, and let's get into it. We're going to start with the state of Kentucky because of course that's where your Supreme is from. So only felt right. But let's get into it. So the first one I want to talk about is the witch's tree, and that is in the middle of Louisville, Kentucky. So another tree it looks like did grow there in the late 19th century, and it was rumored to be a favorite spot for a local coven to meet. When they heard their tree was going to be cut down by a local merchant for a May Day celebration, the witches went to work. They did leave a warning on the trunk of their beloved maple. So let's talk about what the spell actually said. So the spell for the witch's tree is as follows. This tree shall stand and not be cut. We fed her with our laughter, our leafy haven you'll not gut, or pay forever after. But if you, wooden king, prevail, and Mother Maple dies, the force of fate shall strike this town and right between the eyes. If our tree falls, yes, fate will call to teach you heartless dunce, that all man's work can disappear. Beware 11th month. So number one, pop off. They did warn. They did warn. They literally warned them. Like that's what for this specific urban legend, that is what I'm like, girly pop. Like they told you, do not touch my tree and you'll be good. So of course they cut it down. They cut it down because they said spell what? But when they did chop it down, seemingly enough, 11 months later, unfortunately, one of the deadliest tornadoes did come through. Did come through. So that's not, I mean, obviously, we don't want anybody to be hurt or anything like that. So that definitely is not the best thing for that town. But I think that we can start it off with obviously a witches type of urban legend because you girl the Supreme, so that just makes sense. But yeah, that is the witch's tree. Now there is a witch's tree also near, like very close to where I live. So I thought it was going to be about that witch's tree. So it was interesting to learn that there are more than one witch's tree in Kentucky. So that is urban legend number one. So the second one I want to talk about is the Hanging Man of Allendale Train Tunnel. So this is located in the woods outside of Ellesmere, Kentucky. It's creepy even before you hear the local stories about a man hanging himself from the hook above the tunnel entrance. I mean, we're in woods, so depending on who you ask, an apparition of the man walks the tunnel at night, or he hangs from the hook, warding off anyone who fancies themselves as an urban explorer. So I think this one is obviously, not the greatest as far as the origin story. It is rather sad when somebody decides to kind of go out that way. I do think that a lot of places hold on to grief and to trauma and things like that. So it makes sense for sure as to why that you would see that. And I think that that would be a perfect spot for a lot of like the urban explorers and people who are brave enough to do that because your Supreme is not. Your Supreme will never, first off, be in the woods. Your Supreme does not do the woods. But if you like it, I love it. So I think that if I saw this in real life, like it said, you would be freaked out even before you sat here and went to the tunnel. Same, quite literally same. So that was urban legend slash horror number two. Let's go on to number three. So the next one I want to talk about is called the Witch Girl of Pilot's Knob. So from the legend, it looks like that it's saying in the small town of Marion, Kentucky, a 6-year-old girl was burned alive under suspicion of being a witch. Her charred corpse was buried in a steel-lined grave in Pilot's Knob Cemetery, which was then covered in concrete and surrounded with a white fence made of interconnecting crosses. Supposedly, The girl's ghost can't go beyond the cross fence, but she can grab passerbys and pull them into her grave. Just beyond the cross fence, supposedly also stands a spirit known as the Watcher. It desperately wants to claim the girl's soul, but it's stopped by the fence as well. So that one was really interesting to me because she was rather young to be deemed as a witch, like 6 years old, girl. And I really wonder, what the prim or what the I would say what the actions were, what the actions were to make them feel like this little 6 year old girl is a witch, and to, unfortunately disregard her in a way that they did. Very, very disrespectful. I would not be surprised if she sat here and wanted to have revenge, wanted to have attention. With that type of urban legend, and especially when you have somebody that young, more than likely, like me personally, I would feel like she is wanting to grab people to play. She's a little girl. She wants to have friends, all of that. And then it is very interesting, especially with that cemetery. It feels like we're just from the urban legends that spirits are drawn there. And another interesting kind of take I took from that was that this spirit wants this little girl's gift and everything, obviously, but to just sit back and think about that two spirits can really be interacting like that together in another plane, in another realm of existence, is quite mind boggling, and a really huge reason as to why I love these type of stories and these type of lures, because I am so interested in what happens when we go to the other side. So yeah, I've never heard of these or the cemetery, so that was something I found really interesting. Let's go to the next. So this one is called the Ghostly Cop of Narrows Road. So according to local legend, while making a routine traffic stop on Narrows Road in Erlanger, Kentucky, in the 1950s, a police officer was struck by a passing vehicle and killed. His spirit apparently stayed. Supposedly, if you drive along the road at midnight, you might get pulled over by an officer in a vintage police car. He'll stop and speak to you right before vanishing in the air. So, your Supreme has actually done this because, sometimes we just want to be a little spooky, boys. Do not judge me. Do not. So, I definitely wanted to test to see if this urban legend is true, because that is an easy place for myself to get to. So, I did drive on Narrows Road, and I will say that the first time I did it, there was a car behind us that disappeared. It did. Um, Now the thing with this though is, even if we for some reason had like a cop stop us, I don't think that, like, if it looked like a vintage car, if it looked like not a regular cop, I'm gonna be like, who's stopping? Who's stopping? Because it ain't me. The second time that we actually went on this adventure, this excursion, it's the GPS was really weird. So it basically kind of took us in a circle, and then there was a road that the driver wanted to go down. Um, and it was definitely the type of road in a haunted or in a horror movie that as soon as you go on that road, you're done. Like, the movie has started, now you about to fight for your life. Our cell phone service went out. I said, absolutely not. Who's gonna go down that road? Because it ain't me. Let me get out. Like, girl, I'll call an Uber. Like, don't play with me. So we did not go through with it, thankfully. And then it, for some reason, like, just took us on a circle. So yes, I have experienced this. I've experienced this in person. Let's go on to the next. So this next one is called the Jailer's Inn, and it is a bed and breakfast in Bardstown, Kentucky. So it does actually treat itself as one of the most haunted places in America. So not just Kentucky, we talk in the United States of America. So that paranormal activity supposedly springs from the building's history. For over 200 years, the Jailer's Inn held notorious criminals, many of whom died on the premises. Many of the hauntings occur in a courtyard, which was once used to hang men who had been put to death. People have allegedly had conversations with spirits of men who had their necks snapped in the yard. So that I'm honestly not surprised about. I think that jails are a great place for paranormal activity and just for energy itself. You got to think, unfortunately, a lot of these people are going through a very, very rough time in life. And especially when you have people going through the death sentence, unfortunately, that is going to cause so much just trauma in that one area if you are having, individual after individual unfortunately losing their life. Um, would I ever go there? I would go. So the thing with myself and like ghost investigations, paranormal investigations, I would definitely go as like a tour, a guided tour with a guide at noon. Um, if I do go for any type of paranormal investigation, I would have to go with the paranormal Powerpuff Girls or like any other like friends. I would have to go with people. I could never do this alone. So you know, I'm not surprised that this place is haunted. I would like to know though. So if it's a bed and breakfast, I want to know if anybody was seeing these people. It sounds like that the patrons of this current establishment is hearing conversations in the courtyard. Your girl might have to check out a little early for that one because no, ma'am. But let's go on to the last hometown haunt for Kentucky. So I wanted to end with the Pope Lick Monster. So I've actually never heard of this one, and reading about it, Miss Ma'am. So it is a terrifying entity associated with the Trestle, if I'm saying that correctly, bridge. Descriptions of the monster vary, but the most popular depiction is that of a creature with the body of a man and the head of a goat. Some stories suggest that this creature was once a circus performer who was mistreated and transformed into a vengeful spirit. Others believed it emerged from a tragic train accident that claimed several lives, whose spirits now haunt the bridge. According to legend, the Popelic monster can mimic voices of people familiar to its victims, luring them into the tracks only to meet their demise in the face of an oncoming train. Witnesses have also reported terrifying encounters with the beast, whose glowing red eyes and gruesome vengeance leave a lasting impression of the dread. There are even tales of its attacking cars with a blood-stained axe. I wanted to end with this one because I felt out of all the legends that I kind of learned about, this was a little, the most aggressive. Most aggressive. So it doesn't, it kind of makes sense as far as to why it's so vengeful, especially based on either one of the lores as far as how it got created, as far as the circus performer or the train. Either way, it definitely was a gruesome death and one that he or she or however they want to seek vengeance on. So I'm not gonna lie, if I saw this in real life, if your girl would pass out, I would. And then especially if you are swinging an axe with me, if I'm just trying to go back to the house, like I wonder if this is a bridge that people like can still go over, or is it like condemned and people just go there to see if they can find him? Because either way, I wouldn't. Either way, I wouldn't. But that is Hometown Hot. It's the first episode. Um, I forget, obviously, we started with Kentucky, but we will be going through all of the states. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do a specific state next. You already know I'm going to listen to them. Love to interact with y'all. So definitely, comment down below. And I hope you guys had a great time with this video. And as always, y'all already know. Say it with me now. Ta-ta for now.